Hey y'all, what's up? Big Wooly here, and welcome back to another episode of our Exosphere Community Edition Let's Play. So, in today's episode, like we were talking about last time, we are going to go get the Wither down. And, I went chasing Wither Skelly Skulls, and I didn't look at the book, so we're going to talk about how we can get them together. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so I went and hunted down Wither Skellies to get enough skulls to kill the Wither, but what I never did was check what Wither Skelly Skull seeds take, or Wither Skelly seeds take. We can craft it with coal, just coal. Now we get like next to nothing, like 0.1, so it's going to take, I don't know, a ton of stacks of coal, but we can craft up the seed without having to have the skulls. So I figure that's what we'll do to start the episode. So we're going to toss the coal in here and start filling these jars up. It is going to take, I think, more than a stack per jar. Yes, it will literally take 80 coal per jar to fill up the Wither Skelly Skull jars. But we've been growing coal since almost the beginning of the pack. So we have more than enough coal to give up, what is that, 8 times 320 coal. I mean, I will gladly give up 320 coal to not have to kill 87 Wither Skellies. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up the rest of these 4 jars, and you guys have seen us craft the seeds, so I'm going to get this rolling so that when we head to the end to go cheese the Wither, we will already have everything we need. So I'll catch you guys in the end. All right, y'all. Out here in the end, I made us a little kill room right under the portal because we can trap the Wither in the bedrock and make it nice and easy. And if we need repeated kills, which we're going to for all the nether stars we need, it makes the process a little quicker. Now, I am going to lower some sounds because for those of you that watched the last episode, I'm sorry. I did not realize the dragon was so loud, and I was struggling to try and get it fixed in post. So hopefully you can stick around and forgive me for blowing out your eardrums. But here we go. I hope I didn't build this one block too high. We'll find out in a second. Nope, looks like I did it perfect. So we're not blast proof. I probably ought to get out of there. There we go. And oh no, he's free. This is not good. I don't even have a bow with me. This is bad. So he needs to be lower, or does this have knockback? I don't think it has knockback. Why is it knocking him back? Okay, we have a bow. Do I have arrows? No, I don't have arrows. Okay, this is real bad. I think I'm gonna have to go home and go get arrows and come back. This is really bad. Really bad. Oh gosh. So yeah, if you play on the server and there's a random Wither in the end, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove anything. So I guess he needs to be 1 block lower. Big Ol' starter base. Okay, we need arrows. Yes. All the arrows. Can I give the Wither withering? Let's hope that doesn't like heal him or something. Okay, all right. Oh, I'm floating. Wonderful. So this sword has a knockback, apparently. And let's really hope we're over land. That was more chaotic than I wanted. What is knocking him back? I don't see knockback on here. Looting, sharpness, mystical enlightenment, severing. Oh, thank gosh, our nether star didn't fall in the void. Heck yeah. Okay, we almost fell in the void. That would have been horrible. Yeah, there you go. Wither dead. Don't do like Wooly. I do believe he either needs to be one block lower, or I have got to figure out what is repelling the mobs on my gear. But now we have another star. We're going to need a bunch of them, but we've got the seeds growing, and I think the height was right, but I think there's something's causing knockback, and I don't know what it is. So I will work on figuring out what's causing knockback before the end of this episode and let you guys know. But wither down. Now we have our nether star. Let's head back to home and move along. All right, back at the base. The one thing I really wanted that nether star, the first one, for is this wyvern core, however you say that. We need it for the middle here, and then we need to get into some draconic evolution. This will be my first time ever touching this mod. So if it feels fumbly, bear with me. We'll get through it. All right, let's go take a look at the quest book, because so far this quest book has been pretty okay. I mean, I ain't mad at it. Why they gave us like half a stack of glass, I do not know. And who just went out my front door, I also don't know. But that is not for the video, I guess. All right, so Draconic Evolution, as we talked about when we killed the dragon, we did get some of this draconium dust, and we also found just a ton of it while we were in-busting. Next thing is it wants us to make the draconium core, which we need draconium ingots. How do we get those? Oh, that feels too easy. Sure, let's go just smelt some. And don't think I didn't see that seed, so we'll be making a seed for this. Don't you worry. Draconium, let's see how much we have. Oh, wow, we found a ton, apparently. So we're just going to toss like 4 stacks into our furnace right here. Yep, redstone furnace, and it's cooking them up. There we go. So now all we need is some gold. We were running, like I said, super low on gold, so I added like 4 more gold seeds in. Hopefully that's enough to start getting the production up and we're not running out of it all the time. But when you start doing your stack upgrades and your barrel upgrades, the nested crafting consumes a bunch of all the components in the middle. So here we go. Now we can make the core, which we need 4 of for that thing. So 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then let's go look at our quest line. Quest line is place a fusion core and a fusion crafting injectors 2 blocks apart from your fusion core. Diamond sword inside, yada yada. Okay, we don't necessarily want to do all that if we don't have to. Looks like we can just straight craft this core that we need. There we go. And then now I should be able to go steal our range boosters and come up here, and then we should be able, we're gonna need another weather crystal. We need pulsating crystal. Okay, but we've already got pulsating alloy on autocraft, so no biggie. We'll just make one of those, and then we'll go recipe there, make some more of them, and we need one more pulsating crystal. There we go. Now weather crystal, have it craft up those others. We might need to add recipes for those. I'm not sure, honestly. And now one more weather crystal and infinite range booster. Now the concern here is going to be how much power does this take? So let's find out. Okay, that's a lot of blocks away. Now is this is this one in cross-dimensional, or do I need to make another one? Dimension card. Okay, yeah, we've got more to go. So this will only work in the overworld, but that's fine. Now let's see what we're using on power. 4,689 FE a tick. Let's go make sure we've got that being generated. I think we're good. What are these making? Generates 400 FE. No, we're not good. So max generates 400. So no, these are making 1,120 FE a tick. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, we're fine. It's going to start pulling down some of these other batteries, I bet. But we should be just fine on power. So if these are all making 1,120 FE a tick when they need to, yeah, so see it's starting to pull down here. But we're generating more than 4K FE a tick. So should be just fine. We're probably going to want to look into upgrading these, but in the last episode, we got the next tier of crystals there. So I don't think you guys need to see that every single time, but I'm probably going to go ahead and get those either upgraded to, upgraded to spirited so that we have it. So now our wireless, if we go to spawn, for example, which is a long ways away from my base, I should still be able to control E and look there. So now maybe I can work on a spawn build for the server, like for new folks that join, which can be you. Come on over to the Discord, hop in the chat, give us a hello, say you might like to play, and we'll see if we can't get you on here. I don't mind. This hosting is provided by one of our community members, and we really want to be good stewards of that and let as many people as possible enjoy the good hardware that we get to run the servers on. So yeah, come on over to the Discord, drop a comment somewhere in there. I'm going to get some channels set up for this one, just like the last one. And just remember, I play on here. And if you're making issues, well, yeah, you'll be exited. And, no hard feelings, but, got to be good stewards to the community. All right, now, back home, and let's take a look at what else is on the sign. I think Sequential Fabricator and the Awakening Altar. So the Awakening Altar we can get into now that we've got some Cognizant Dust from killing the dragon, and now one Wither with our Mystical Enlightenment enchant. So what we ought to do is not do that one. Let's look at Sequential Fabricator. And the reason I want to look at that is I want to change how we're managing our Inferium. Right now it's all going into storage. I want to try and get it crafted all the way up. So it was Squirrel, who is always in the streams, always in the comments. He told me that we can probably do it here in the Sequential Fabricator. So let's get one of these crafted up and see what it's going to take to automate the stacking up of our essences. Because the goal, as I've talked about before, is to have everything in here in the form of Insanium Essence. And then the crafts are just breaking down our Insanium Essence into the other tiers that we need. And the Inferium, it never really has to touch the storage is the goal. We want to be able to isolate the Inferium Essence in its own little spot. And then we're going to have this Sequential Fabricator run off of it. I will probably exclude this drawer somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I haven't figured it out yet. But let's take a look at the Sequential Fabricator and see what it's going to take to get this going. So, learning together. Because I've done it in other things. I really like RF Tools has the crafter that does this nested stuff really well. But let's come downstairs here. We've got some power right there. We've got cable right here. So let's just, let's see, which way is this one facing? This one's facing this way, so we'll go right here. So the Sequential Fabricator, it's going to want power. So we need some energy conduit. Presto. And it can extract, and it should be filling that up. Awesome. Good to go. So now we're going to need our infusion, and we're going to need some Inferium. And I think the way this is going to work is we I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to hit the check. Okay. So I'm not sure how other folks are doing it, but what we're going to want to do is probably a chain of these, I'm guessing, with master infusion crystals in each of them, and we'll just have it send it along until we get to our insanium. So let me get, what do we need? Let's see how many there are. Essence. There are 1, 2, 3. Well, we already have one. So 1, 2, 3, 4 more tiers that we need to craft them up into. So we need 4 more sequential fabricators. Let's get that going. Sequential fabricators, which means we're going to need just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more of the copper gears, and we're going to need 8 more of each of those. So crafting tables, we'll know 4 more. Crafting table, 2, 3, 4, 5, sure, that's fine. And then machine frame. Let's just make 10 to have them in there. And then the flux. We'll just make 10 of those too, no biggie. All right, and then now we should be able to craft up our 4 more sequential fabricators. There we go. And then we need some master infusion crystals. So master infusion. What does it take to craft you? Let's get that going. And then here we go. There's one. And then let's go ahead and just get Supremium. Sure. Make me a bunch of it. And then make me 3 more of these. And then now we should be able to make all 4 of our master infusion crystals. So we're going to rinse and repeat. I'm going to bring power down and along. So 2, 3, 4. That should be enough. And then we'll put our sequential fabricators in. And then in this next one, we can actually tell it that it can input and pull from the left. We're going to tell this one that it can output and auto output from to the right. And so in theory, it should be able to pull those. And then this one needs a recipe. So it's going to have that. And then if we grab these out for now, and we tell it 1, 2, 3, 4 with that, and we hit the check mark and put those in next here. And it's going to be able to output to the right, auto output enabled. Come over here, input, auto input enabled. And then we are going to do the same thing here. And it is for tertium. So we should be able to just drag this over and lock in this recipe. Put our crystal in. And there we have it. So next things next, another crystal. And this is auto. Oh, I gotta lock the recipe first. What is Imperium is what we're using on this one. So we'll drag it over. You guys get the idea here. We're only going to have one more after this to turn the Supremium into Insanium. So we lock that in. We'll put our crystal in. Auto input, auto output, input on the left, output to the right. So that should be able to get that eventually once these start flowing. It looks like we may have issues with these thermal machines hanging up, but that shouldn't be a problem. As soon as it has enough essences for the next craft, it should move along to the next craft. So don't worry about it if it's not flowing like it should. we'll give it a good solid test when we put the Inferium in on the other end. The downside is going to be, I think we're going to have to do something like a keep in stock somehow. I'm not real sure. We're going to have to figure that out, because otherwise every time you try and craft Inferium, it's going to pull it back into the system. So I either have to isolate where our Inferium goes right from the farm, or we're going to have to do some kind of stock thing where it essentially stops at, I don't know, 6,000 or 10,000 Inferium and doesn't send anything. And that will take me a little bit of figuring out. But when I figure it out, I will share it with you. So here we go, Supremium. And we're going to lock in this recipe, and we're going to tell it input and auto output. And we'll probably do the output on the top on this one, since we're going to be taking it back into storage from here. So go ahead and put our crystal in. And now we're going to need an exporter and an importer. So exporter and an importer. Probably ought to get some recipes put in for these, but we don't need to do it this very minute. And then this one is going to be able to input from the top, auto input enabled. And then if we put our exporter right there, and we tell it to export Inferium. Now it's going to be slow at first. So it's going to take it a little bit to get in here, and it may not be able to keep up, especially if we accelerate it. But it really shouldn't necessarily be a problem. But let's see if we can get some speed upgrades. So speed, we already have those on AutoCraft. Cool. Let's just make like 12. It doesn't really matter. And then a stack upgrade. We don't have those on AutoCraft yet, but we'll go ahead and tell it to make us some of those. And then speed. So there's some speed. So while we're waiting on our stack upgrade, we'll toss those in. And that should, yeah, there we go. And then as you can see here, as this gets 4, it's crafting and sending them over. And this one is waiting to have 4 to craft it. So it'll craft another one. And then this one won't go until it has all 4 in it. And I'm guessing it won't send them until it has enough for the pattern. So we'll see. Yep, everything looks like it is configured properly. Oh, we never set the output on this one. That's why it's not sending them. Auto output enabled. So always, just double check. And then here we are. We've got one Supremium in here. And then on the end is going to be an importer. And we will pull back in our finished Insanium Essence once we get there. So right now, this is slap full of the Inferium Essence. And if our stack upgrades are done, did they finish? Oh, we didn't craft one. We just told it to make the parts. Okay, so we're going to take one of the speeds out and put a stack upgrade in here. And now it can move whole stacks at a time if it needs to. And we're just at the mercy of these machines. We can speed them up with integral components. We're up to the tier 2, so we need 5 of them for all these machines. So we'll tell it to go ahead and make us those 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we can speed these up. So that'll start cranking through, and we should see this moving them along faster. And we should see this one moving them along faster. What is this now using for power? 60 RF? Yeah, we should be fine. So there we go. We're almost to our first Insanium. Should see another one come in any second. And then as long as this Insanium vanishes into the system, this will just get us caught up. There we go. So it crafted it, and we added one more Insanium Essence back to the system. Now, I'll figure out what we're going to do to limit the exports so that we keep some Inferium Essence in stock in the system. Probably not in today's episode, but I will update you guys once I sort a solution for that. So let's toss in this stuff we don't need. Oh, one other thing we got going in between episodes, I went to the Nether and I went looking for ancient debris. And I believe it was like the first episode, we found a piece of ancient Nether ore. This spawns in veins down at your ancient debris level, but there will be 4 to 6 of the ore. It does respond to fortune, and when you mine them, it drops the netherite scrap. Not an ancient debris, but it just straight up drops the scrap. I went from like not enough for anything to, I think I came back with like 5 stacks of netherite scrap. So I went ahead, crafted us up netherite. I got a netherite seed made for us. And now with that in mind, we should definitely get some tools upgraded. So let's take a look at our pickaxe for sure. And we'll get it and probably shovel and maybe the axe, wherever my axe went. Did I put it in storage? It looks like I did. So we'll go ahead and get these all upgraded to netherite. We do have one smithing template that we found. So I think, nope. Okay, we don't. We're going to have to go hunt down a smithing template in a bastion. So in the treasure chest in the middle of the bastion. So it will be another day before we can do that, but I will go find us the thing and get these upgraded. But I did want to show you guys that we got the netherite we needed. And how are we doing on time? Looks like we're doing pretty good. Let's go take a look at the signs and see if we got enough time to do anything else? Question mark? I don't know. Yeah, so the Awakening Altar, it is a process. It is a very similar setup to this, except there's a little more going on. And one thing you guys are going to need to get going in your world, which I actually did in between episodes, I went on a seed frenzy. You're going to need to get all of the element S's going, being air, water, fire, and earth. And these take this agglomeratio that you have to make. So you make 4 of these to make the seed, and they're all pretty basic ingredients, but you're going to want to get these seeds going before you get to your Awakening Altar, because you're going to need a lot of them to keep the jars full. So in your worlds, if you're hoping and looking forward to on Friday working on your Awakening Altar with me, go ahead and get air, fire, water, and earth all going in the form of seeds. We are going to need those to get into Awakened Supremium, which is the next good tier in all of the mystical agriculture stuff. So, with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll see y'all next time.